Namaste all. I hope I'm audible, Nina. Okay, okay. So, welcome everybody. We will begin with uh, uh, a short invocation. Om Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavarvahai Tejasvinamaditamastu Ma Vidshavahay. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. I welcome everybody to this 1 hour webinar on AI for all. We at Anadi Foundation and Rural AI Center, we have been working in the space for some time now, and we thought this could be a beginning of conversation on how to, you know, integrate AI into everyday life and how that can be useful for you all. So I'm just beginning. About Anadi Foundation, if you have not heard about us. So, Anadi Foundation is founded by Shriman Athinarayan and Matushri Smriti Rekha on the auspicious occasion of Guru Purnima in 2015. We are almost now 9 years old organization, and it's a socio-spiritual organization dedicated to self-unfoldment of individuals. Anadi in Sanskrit means beginningless. So the main goal of Anadi Foundation is to inspire young people like you all, like us, to lead a self-reliant, sustainable, and social conscious life. So they are the founders. Both of them are now professors at IIT Delhi. They have inspired a lot of youth like us, and we have a lot of volunteers and people working in Anadi Foundation. Mainly, our focus area is education, well-being, sustainability, and culture and heritage. Anadi Rural AI Center coming under education and culture and heritage, and crisscrossing these four focus areas. If you look at Anadi Rural AI Center, our vision is to develop high-quality AI in data educational modules for schools and college students and general public at large. And we also wanted to build a solid foundation in cutting edge technologies. We wanted to empower also the rural students, tier 2, tier 3 city college students, especially focused on Indian knowledge systems. So our key areas is AI and data science curriculum. We are also engaging with a lot of students and interns. We provide internship. We have very exciting research in IKS. Hopefully, over the period, we'll be able to interact and engage in that area. We focus on Sanskrit and Tamil linguistics, especially. We have done research in Indic TTS and ASR technology. And the Rural AI Center, another main focus is preserving indigenous knowledge system. We use AI for cataloging, preserving, promoting traditional knowledge systems. Currently, we have a few projects running. I'm just quickly skimming through just for you to understand what we are doing. If you're interested, please reach to us. We work on some Tirukural project for digital preservation of Tirukural. We are working now on Kalanjiam project. Some of the students and professors are here who are working on that. This is for AI-powered repository for storing, indexing ancient Indian text. We are working on some wearable AI and yoga Ayurveda related projects. And we are also working on some Sanskrit chants and Indian chants for that. So currently we have students internship, especially officially with PhD Institute of Technology and Sri Saraswati Tyagaraja College, Pollachi. We have few grant projects and also some institutional collaboration. Currently, we are developing AI advanced courses for Ayurveda and Siddha medicine, which will be a 30 credit course, in fact, for the medical students of Ayurveda and Siddha. So about 1,000 students have been benefited in the AI and ML workshops, and 20 plus students are currently being mentored on specific projects in our AI center. So coming to the current topic at hand, what will you learn today? You will have a general quick overview of what is AI. what is machine learning, deep learning, just a quick overview that will help you, put things in perspective. And then we'll talk about what is LLM, the buzzword these days, large language models. We'll have a glimpse into its working. All this from a non-expert point of view, non-computer science point of view. I see that there are a lot of non-computer also interested in this. And as the topic says, this is how we can leverage. But to even leverage such AI tools, let's see what kind of knowledge is needed to understand its workings and its inner, machineries, etc. And then we'll have some prompting, which I hope you are all already doing. We are using AI, Chat GPT or Gemini or Perplexity. So once you understand AI and LLM, we look at some prompting. What is prompting, and what are some methods which you might be already using consciously or subconsciously? But we look at that and some suggestions on using AI tools. So the culmination of this 1 hour will help you, understand some suggestions, and we'll discuss some suggestions. And I hope through this session, this is just a beginning for you, so that you will start integrating AI tools into your everyday life. So I'll in between break for some questions, maybe after every one of the sections. So if you have, you can ask questions. Since this is just a starting point, I'm just going ahead with the first part of the session. What is AI, right? This is a very famous thing that we are called as Homo sapiens, man the wise, because of our intelligence. Basically, Homo sapiens literally means man the wise. Until now we have been trying to see, from the days of our even our rishis, we are trying to understand how we think, how a human being think, how a manushya think, right? But when it comes to artificial intelligence as a field, we go further. We are trying to create, we are not just trying to attempt to understand, but also build intelligent entities. So AI, you might have heard this, artificial intelligences, we wanted to either replicate how a human being has this intelligence, we wanted to study and then replicate, or we wanted to go to the philosophy of what is intelligence and try to replicate, etc., etc. So as a field is one of the newest fields in science and engineering, and it has been ranked as one of the most interesting and fastest growing field ever. And it's already generating over $1 trillion a year in revenue. And as an AI expert, Kai Fu Lee predicts its impact, the impact of AI will be more than anything in the history of mankind. There are other lot of interesting facts about AI, but this is, I would say, it's not an understatement. Certainly, the impact of AI is going to be more than anything in the history of mankind. So if you ask anybody currently, what do you want to become, or which field you want to choose, the most regularly cited one is AI. In students of physics might feel good ideas have already been taken, Galileo, Newton, Einstein, but AI has still openings for several full-time Einsteins and Edisons. AI still has many openings for full-time masterminds. And AI currently encompasses a huge variety of subfields. You take anything, right? Playing chess or proving mathematical theorems, writing poetry, driving a car, diagnosing a diseases. Many areas, almost all areas that we know of, is now being penetrated by AI. And I don't know if you know, most of the, I mean, at least a couple of Nobel Prizes this year came to AI scientists, those scientists who are working in AI. And one important factor is AI is relevant to any intellectual task. It is one of the truly universal field. So all of the participants might be joining from varied field, and whatever field you are, AI is going to impact and help you. So it encompasses a huge variety of subfields. General AI, which is called as artificial general intelligence, where they are trying to understand what is learning, what is perception to build an AI. And there are specific intelligent areas like playing chess, etc., that we just saw. Um, so AI itself can be divided into two areas. Currently, whatever we are seeing is what is called as artificial narrow intelligence. Whether you want to AI-powered dosha analysis, whether you want to build a chat bot, all that comes into narrow intelligence, right? And this is something that you can have a mind and remember. Uh, Computer science is one field that emerged, in fact, from mathematics and statistics. Data science is again, from statistics and mathematics. But AI is one field within computer science where machine learning is one subset of AI and deep learning is one subset of machine learning. And data mining, for example, if you take Zomato or any app, right? What they do is they also try to understand the behavior of their consumers, right? That comes under data mining, which is an area by itself a computer science, but it also overlaps with data science. It's not exactly AI. It uses AI and machine learning tools to do that. And again, machine learning means you have a lot of variety in that. For almost for 100 years now, they have been doing AI. But what had made more popular is because of this keyword called deep learning. So this is a picture that you can remember. Again, like I said, AI as a superset has many tools. AI is one field; it's trying to understand and replicate, intelligence, particularly human intelligence. And to do that, it has many tools. Machine learning is one tool. Data science is another tool. Deep learning, neural network is another tool. And other buzzwords that you'll hear is unsupervised learning, graphical learning, planning, knowledge graph. All that comes within AI. So if you talk about machine learning, what you should remember is this one picture, a very dumbed down, simplified version, but still useful. Machine learning can be thought as a function. F of x is a function. So given an input, you transform this input in based on some function. You can think of as a black box where you give an input, it does something, and it provides an output, right? And supervised learning is again a concept in machine learning where a model is trained using labeled data, wherein given an input, the input data is, we look at some examples of what is an input data. So each input data will have some features and an output. And then the model, which again is called as function, it will try to learn the relationship between the input and output during the training phase, and the goal is to generalize and predict outputs for new inputs, right? And output is a prediction, for example. So you have a input, the input can be anything, let's say a picture. Output can be labeling the name of the picture, for example, whether it's a human face or it's a bird face or an animal face. So input is a picture, output will be the prediction of what is that face, right? It can be simple enumeration of that. And f of x is the model, a machine learning model. First, what you do is you train this function with sample data called goal truth. So you will collect a lot of images with their corresponding labels. You train them for some time. And then the function will be trained. How, let it call, how we will not get into it, but it's like a black box, right? Once it is trained, if you give a new input, it need not be the same input. You can take a new picture. Within that, you can take train on one human feature and try to take off on another human feature, and it will try to predict the output, right? And just giving some example, input could be patient symptoms and history, and output could be diagnostic, a particular disease, which is very famous these days. For example, you can look at he has a cold, he has a kapha, film is coming, and the pulse is reducing. Then you can diagnose whether it is a pneumonia or COVID, etc., etc. It can be a medical image and then X-ray or CT scan, and you can have it. If particular X-ray is this way, you can call it as a pneumonia, or it can be a tumor, which is a medical analysis. And heart rate and ECG data, you can collect them as input, and you can have an output as an arrhythmia detection. These are like binary conditions, right? Zero, whether there is an arrhythmia or not. And skin image, for example, and whether it has a cancer or not. Like you have an input, you have an output, you can manually collect some input and output and train some function called f of x in such a way that if you provide a new input, hopefully the model will predict. So like I said, such kind of models have been existing for almost 50 years now. Why is it famous now? That's something very important that we have to see, right? This is because of something recently discovered a decade or 2 decades before, what is called as a neural network. We'll shortly see what is that. Basically, what happens is in traditional AI, as you give more amount of data, the performance saturates. It's very difficult to get a good performance even with large amount of data. But the moment you go into neural networks and have small, medium, or large neural networks, what happens is the performance starts to increase. That's why it has become very famous, right? The discovery of what is called as the deep learning, which we saw here, one subset of the machine learning. This deep learning, what it has created is, as you get more data, the performance increases to even up to 90 to 100%, right? So in this case, if you have a deep learning model, and if you have 10,000 images of a skin cancer, a type of skin cancer, then you can predict whether that skin cancer is there or not. This is being currently deployed in most of the hospitals, right? And you also have seen, you might have seen how it can detect your face, in your mobile phone, your thumbprint, right? All that comes due to this. That's why now this question has been answered, because the performance increases with large neural network. Okay, I'll just give some example quickly for you to understand. You need not understand the mathematics behind it, but let's look visually, see how powerful the even simple neural networks are. You can see this one example where you have an x-axis and y-axis, a lot of points based on the x-axis and y-axis. For example, minus 0.15 and minus 1.5. If you take that point, the blue dot will be there. So you have this many number of data, and they have been separated into a blue and red data points. You can see that even visually we can clearly distinguish, right? And you can train any traditional machine learning model for this. You can see that you can see the background blue color means what is the confidence level of prediction. So it can easily find out, if given a data point of x and y, x-axis and y-axis, it can easily find out whether it is a blue dot or red dot based on its position. Just one, you can see that one red dot is here. So this is easy with any machine learning model or even if case, right? You can create an if condition based on the position. But the moment the data starts to get complicated, you can see that here it's a little complicated. The traditional machine learning model will fail. For example, this part, which is a blue dot, is actually predicted as red dot. You can see in the background, it's red in color. This is because it's linear in nature. The previous machine models are all linear in nature, right? You can only draw lines like this. It will never be able to curve around the space and go. Okay. And one more example is this. It's very difficult to draw a function. If you have studied graph, slope, and everything, linear algebra in your school and college, it's very difficult to separate drawing lines, separate the blue and red dot just with lines. You cannot do that, right? And this is where the traditional machine learning model failed. That is when the artificial neural network and deep learning model was created. It specializes in capturing complex and hierarchical nonlinear representation. It automatically extracts relevant feature. You can stack these multiple hidden layers like this and connect them. This is a structure. You need not completely understand this, but you can see that there is an input, there is an output. the relationship between input and output goes through some transformation. Shortly, I'll tell you, just give you a glimpse of what transformation means. But basically, once you do that, you can predict the output better. For example, previously I showed you how traditional machine learning model cannot draw a function. We saw the image x is equal to, again, I'm just going back. So consider input, output, and function. You have to somehow train a function, given that if you give an input, it should predict the output. Okay. So that is not possible in traditional machine learning. When the data is complicated, if the input is this area, it will predict as red color. That's why the accuracy is 86%, because it's non-linear in nature. Similarly here, the boundary is in such a way that these blue background, wherever, if the data point is anywhere here, it will predict as blue, even if the actual value is red, right? Similarly on the other side. Whereas if you take the modern deep learning, you can see that it beautifully curves based on the data. It almost gives 100% of accuracy. I'll just show you one more. You can see, without going into the mathematics of that, a deep learning model can understand nonlinear transformations in such a way that it can draw any which way, right? You can see that whatever comes in this outer boundary is red color, whatever comes within this boundary is blue color. This is how it learns. And that's why it's able to reach 100% of accuracy. How does it do? Just here I will show you. Given the data isn't linearly separatable, so you cannot linearly separate this data, right? You cannot draw a line here, say that this is red and this is blue. So if the data is like this, basically what the deep learning does in a simple sense is it will project it to higher dimension, such a way that you do some kind of transformation. Just visually understand this. If you have an image like this, you project it to higher dimension where you can separate between red and blue. There you draw the lines in such a way that it will come like this. This function will come. It's similar to this, right? How our brain works. One example is if I tell you, in Tamil Nadu, I am there, which is a very non-linear data. That is not enough. Maybe I'll project it to higher dimensional spaces, something like, okay, give me your position, or give me your position with respect to stars, nakshatras. Then maybe I'll be able to identify your position in higher dimension. Basically, higher dimension means you have more richer information where you can slice the data better. Okay. How it does, it's a mathematical problem, but at least I hope you understand what exactly it tries to do. So based on this, they are very flexible, but yet powerful models, these deep learning and artificial neural network. And that's why they are called as universal function approximators. Why I was giving all this is for you to understand this particular keyword called universal function approximator, meaning they can model any complex function. So going back, it does not matter what kind of input data and output data you have. You need not write a function for them. Okay, give me the data samples, give me its corresponding output. I will make the model learn for this input. This is going to be the output, such a way that you give a new input, it will try to predict the correct output. Okay, that universal approximator is something that you have to understand. Basically, universal approximation again comes from this kind of non-linear transformation where it can be sliced properly, it will take there and slice it. Okay, and this has been again proven long before, but currently there has been incredible surge on this popularity due to the following reasons. One is they have found out a clever tricks to train these models, right? Previously, only expert who's working in some physics or math or computer science department was able to do it. But currently, if you understand just a simple Python and take a PyTorch, a scikit-learn or TensorFlow model, anybody, even with a very minimal computer science knowledge, can train. And then the computational power, especially with GPU and distributed learning, have made it possible to train much faster than before. And again, we have a vast amount of training data available. Due to this, the DL currently wins over the machine learning. Okay. So just to recap, given an input, you can train any model in such a way that it can map the input to output based on the data. So some examples, for example, again, this is how our brain works. Demand prediction for a house, right? If I tell you, if I ask you to predict a price for a house, you will ask these features. Okay, what is the price? This is for any, for example, Amazon product, right? If I wanted to predict the demand, it will be based on price, shipping cost, and how the marketing is done, and what is the material, what is the need, for example, in the public. So you will take some features, you will try to map these features. Okay, if the price is this, shipping cost is this is the demand. This is how our brain works, and that is how, for example, even deep learning works. For example, for a face recognition, if you take how it does, very interestingly, you have multiple layers, and what happens is each layer of the deep neural network will try to predict one feature of the face. Maybe one layer will predict the lines, one layer will predict the shape of the circular shape, and another layer will just predict the facial features in many ways. And based on the combination of these, the identity is predicted. These are all non-linear transformation, again, which is possible with the deep learning kind of model, right? So the keyword here for you to remember, what is AI and deep learning? So AI is a large field in computer science which uses many tools like machine learning, deep learning to create an artificial intelligent agents and entities that can replicate human being. And deep learning, why it is AI is famous is because of the deep learning. And the keyword for you to remember in deep learning is the universal function approximator, which is given a data and golden truth input. The function will learn whatever the relationship between the input and output in the higher dimensions, right? So input, the function will learn, and the output. So this is the keyword that you wanted to remember. Any questions up to now? I hope you're able to follow. All right. I'll just move ahead. We'll have also an interaction and Q&A at the end of the session. Now we know AI ML to some extent. Let's get into what is this large language model. So you can see that there is a sudden red dot that appeared as large language model. So large language model is nothing but deep learning, right? Which is specific for languages. So LLMs are subset of deep learning that uses a particular type of artificial neural network called transformers. This is something that you need to know as a non-technical person, not beyond this. So when I say large language models also DL, that means it will share the same advantage of DL, which is they are also universal function approximators, meaning a function, whatever that function, that model, the black box, can understand the language like how we understand the language, right? This is the statement that we can make. And but the only condition is they need a vast amount of data, and they need to train with a huge computational power, especially GPUs and distributed training. We'll come to that. So a formal definition is large language models are artificial intelligence systems. So all these keywords that we have studied in the previous session, trained on vast amount of text data to understand and generate human language. How does it do? That's a $1 million question, right? It's a very simple process. Of course, engineering wise, it's complicated, but concept wise, it's very, very simple. What the AI scientists and engineers did is, the 60 to 100 years of accumulated data, digital data, even before the printed data, they scanned it and converted into digital. So you almost have about 10 terabytes of text data. Now it's even more. So what you do, you take all of that as input, and then you have a function that is going to learn this language from these input, right? And this function is not a small one. It's a 6,000 GPUs, which is almost cost about $2 million to run it. Very huge, and it takes about 12 days even with such amount of GPUs. This is very old data. Even today, XAI, part of Elon Musk, announced they have 100,000 GPU cluster, which is very, very huge. So when we talk about any large language model, you can imagine like a village, because it consumes the size of the electricity or size of a village, right? So you take a large amount of data, you put it into some computer and train for so many days with so many costs, and finally you convert that into some kind of parameters. Here you can see 140 GB of parameter, right? Just to simply explain, you can think of LLM as a very large function, like I said, that mugs up, right? It mugs up all, like how we mug up our economics paper, mathematics paper, literature paper, right? And it tries to remember huge amount of information from all internet resources, books, articles, website, everything. And the LLM uses this memorized information to generate responses, like how we do. How it generates the responses, we will see shortly. The process of this memorization is called as training. Okay, so we are doing something called as training, which is the process of memorization of this huge amount of data. And what is it trying to memorize? Simple. It is trying to predict the next word in the sequence. Again, in this image, what is a large language model? It's a function. What does it take as input? It will take a set of sequence of input. I am, for example, I am Venkatapati is a training data. It will take the I am as input and it will predict the next word. Next word, it could be Venkatapati, it could be a human being. So this is the prediction. Basically, this is the large language model. It's nothing but given a sequence of words, the function will predict the next word. All your chat GPT, all your perplexity, all your meta, WhatsApp AI does this only this set of input, but it predicts output. But how does it look like intelligent, right? So next word prediction forces the neural network to learn a lot about the text it's trying to memorize. So when we say that you have taken 10 terabyte of data of the internet for almost 100, 200 to 500 years, sometimes even 5,000 years if you consider Indian knowledge system, right? When you say you want to predict the next word, let's say for here, the large language model as a function should predict the next word, Ayu lies, right? Meaning Ayurveda is the Veda where let's say this is the input I'm giving, it should predict the next word Ayu. That means it has to understand all these contexts. Without understanding all these contexts, it will not predict the next word in the right context, right? There is a nice visualization of this. Maybe after this 1 hour, I will show you some visual process of how this large language model is learning. But ultimately, from this, you can say large language model is nothing but given a sequence of words, it will predict the next word. But to predict the next word, you have to understand and have the world view of what the context is to predict it properly. And the training means you are teaching the large language model to predict properly, predict correctly. Okay. And training involves two steps. One is called as pre-training. Pre-training is just what they do is all the 10 terabyte of data they take and give it to the large language model. And how the training happens is they will hide few data. For example, they'll take this. If you take this page, they'll hide these highlighted words, right? And they'll ask the model to predict. Okay, predict what word should come here. That's how we memorize, right? You take a literature and you try to predict, you memorize in such a way that if I give you some word, you will predict the next word. So like that, they pre-train the model so that memorization, after the model memorizes, what happens is it has the worldview and knowledge of whatever it has been trained on. And it's a very huge process. It has large data sets, hundreds of GBs to terabyte of text. What this also means is all the large language model that you're interacting with, has a knowledge and worldview about almost all the data that is there in the uh, almost all the data that is there in the internet. If something is there in the internet, it can predict. And it cost a lot of money, millions of dollars for training, because of the the infrastructure, and that is why only few people are doing that. You will see that OpenAI is doing that, Google is doing that, only handful. Facebook is doing that, and currently in IIT Bombay we have our team, BharatGen, which is doing it for Indian context. Hopefully, for Indian context, more people will come. But basically, what this means is this pre-training. This is called as pre-training. Pre-training means mugging up, right? Okay, you just give all the data, you mug up all the data to as much extent possible. The next interesting step is called as fine tuning. This is the innovation. You can hear the buzzword and keyword called instruction fine tuning, right? This objective is very specific. It narrows the focus of the pre-trained model by continuing training on a smaller domain-specific data, and this is where it's very important. For example, I just jump ahead and show you. Until now, you just give for example, if you take an Ayurveda book, right? You first give an Ayurveda book and ask a large language model. You can visualize as f of x. You ask the large language model to mug up that book, not just one book, all the Ayurveda book in English, let's say. First, you do that, that's pre training. Then, fine tuning means you will ask your volunteers, a lot of people, to create some format like this. Okay, first it will write as user, what is Ayurveda? Like that, whatever a human being can ask questions about the Ayurveda, you take this as a data set, and then again you ask the fine tune the model. So the pre-trained model will have all the knowledge about the Ayurveda, and then the fine-tuned model, what it will do is it will learn how to answer. It will now know how to predict the next word, but by changing this data set like this structure, you are forcing the model to predict the next word in a way that you can understand and a human being can understand. It becomes an interactive model, right? This is a very innovative step, and that is why, for example, the usage of large language model has surged. All your language chatting that you're doing in ChatGPT, this is how it is happening. They have created a lot of manual question and answer, and then fine-tuned a big large language model, and then now it is able to answer in the way that it is being asked. Okay, so this is the summary of how to train your ChatGPT. You pre-training means you get a base model with 10 terabyte of data, 6,000 GPUs, and compress the text into neural network. After paying $2 million in 12 days, of course, a lot of money. And then fine tuning. Fine tuning is you write labeling instructions, how you want the model to answer in the subject it has learned, mugged up, right? You hire people to collect 100,000 high quality ideal question answer responses, right? It should be ideal. That's why, for example, they are talking about alignment and everything, how to properly answer to you. If you ask ChatGPT, ChatGPT is one virtual person who will never get angry with you, even if you shout unnecessarily. It does not, because that is how it has been fine tuned. And then once you fine tune this, you will get assistant models, which is what will be deployed to you as a chat bot. Okay. How exactly does it work? Like I said, I'll just get back to you after the session, maybe like a post session. If so, a few of you are more interested, we can look at that. So with this, we have understood what is AI. AI as a field, deep learning as this universal function approximator, and large language model as one deep learning model where it mugs up a huge amount of text and trained to talk in a way that we understand, right? So now we know what a large language model does. It just predicts the next word. What should be the next word is based on the pre-training and fine-tuning, right? So this is what you should remember whenever you are going to chat with the model. Any questions until now? Just check the messages so that I don't miss it. Nina, I hope you're monitoring the chat.
Yes, Anna.
Okay. All right. Let's now get into the final two stages of our session. So now you have a fine-tuned large language model, right? Then comes the prompting. So what is prompting? A prompting is a natural language request submitted to a language model to receive a response. Okay. So for example, here I told you that this is the data set. You have a keyword called user, then the question comes, then the
Excuse
assistant
me,
keyword.
Anna.
Yes.
Anna, there is a question in the chat box now.
Yeah. Yes. What is it? I'm not able to see. Could you tell what?
Yes, Anna. If you want to train a new LLM just based on Lok and Bharatiya languages only as input, how can we do that?
That's a great question, actually. So basically, for that, you need to collect. Um, you need to collect all the Bharatiya text. I see that without English as input. So you collect all the Bharatiya languages in whatever form, right? In forums, in discussions, in chatbot. That's why, for example, why English is famous. Famous is there has been lot of non-literature data that has been generated. Your Facebook is in English. Your chatting is in English. The Zoom is in English. Similarly, you can collect all those data of non-English Bharatiya text, and then you do this pre-training. If you do that, you will get a model that is only based on non-English Bharatiya languages. This is currently what we are also doing to a certain extent. Many people are trying to do. Like I said, LLM is nothing but a universal functional approximator, right? What you give as input and output, whatever you train on, whatever you are asking them to mug up, it does it. So that's the answer. If you have a huge amount of data, like poetic language, if you want to poetic language, then just give that. You need lot of data. That's why this again this particular session is we needed all kind of people, not only just AI training people, the pundits, language experts, to collect data and give it to right. We should give it to Indian companies so that we can train in a way that we wanted. I hope I've answered. We are currently doing that in IIT Bombay, in IIT Madras. They're trying to do. Yeah. So now we know. So you have a trained model where, so whenever you write a question, the question will not directly go to the chatbot. What they do is they will create some similar, not exactly this structure, but similar structure. They'll insert a user keyword and then your question, and then they'll insert this assistant keyword. So what happens is when the model is trying to predict the next keyword, it will try to understand this context and it will try to understand whatever is mugged up, and then it will answer, right? So that is why this is very important for you to understand. If you don't understand, please ask, because this is where your chat GPT, if you're prompting chat GPT next time, if you have this in mind, you will be able to get the answer better. Okay, this is how it's going to answer. How do I make the prompt better, right? So what the model does it will receive a prompt, and depending on the type of model being used, it can generate text, embeddings, codes, images, etc., etc. All this trained on, based on that, it will give this output. And what are the applications of ChatGPT and other LLMs? Based on this, we think that it can only chat, right? But it can do more than that. If you have not already done it, please do that. It can elaborate an idea into a larger text. Imagine, you should know that ChatGPT or any free or commercial model has been trained on variety of data, and it fairly understands those data. That means you can give a small idea, and it might, since it's not exactly replicating but predicting, it will be able to predict into a larger text, right? And then summarization. It can summarize a large text into smaller data. And conceptualization. It can ideate. It can extract information. It can transform one data into another. All this can be invoked based on the prompts, because the trained, fine-tuned model is actually trained to do that, right? So quickly we look into type of prompts. This could be also again useful. You know, Prompt means these are the important input is required. Some input you should give, and you can also give some context and examples. Based on all these three combinations, the output will be. So input means you can ask a question. In fact, this is what I did. You can ask any questions. How can I leverage AI for my daily use? I hope you have done your homework. You should have tried by now how to use AI for daily use. And this is it's a long answer. I'm just giving a screenshot of part of that. So it can be used for to-do list and scheduling, automate note taking and summarization. For example, this meeting is recorded. There is an AI assistant that is given to this along with the Zoom, where it is going to transcribe and give me a summary of this, right? And it can do a lot of email management. Uh, you know, uh, there are other, again, tools that are available. More importantly, it can help you in research and knowledge gathering, right? Advanced search, summarization, automated literature reviews, all this can be done. So one type of prompting is this, right? How can I leverage? All this can be question based. This is a question type input, or you can ask a task based input. You can say that I don't know if I can give you this AI companion since it's not my account. Harini, you can try it maybe in some other tool. Yeah. So one is question type prompts, and another one is task based prompts. Okay, do me this, right? Write a calendar, write a WhatsApp message for sending this. I hope you would have found out all the email and messages that I sent is based on some kind of prompts that I gave to the ChatGPT. And then you can ask it to complete input, right? Okay, complete the code implementation to binary search. This is very, very useful for software engineers if you are here, completing the code, suggesting the code. So what should we do in the future? Completion, right? Such kind of inputs can be given. Some general consideration is clear definition of task, write clearly what you need, exactly giving what it should understand. You can also apply constraints. You can give, you can say, I wanted only 500 character essay, 350 character. It should be only for WhatsApp. You can give that as a separate context. You can set rules. You should sound like a human. You should sound like an Indian. You should not sound very overly enthusiastic. Such kind of rules. And you can also set the tone, because nowadays what happens is it's very easy to also, as a human being, we can easily decipher whether a message is coming from a chat GPT or not. But there are ways to fine tune based on these general considerations of prompting. But more importantly, please understand when you are talking about prompts, the layers of what we saw, right? You have an AI, you have a deep learning model, which is a universal approximator. You have a large language model, which is a mug-up function, which has been pre-trained and fine-tuned. And then you are going to prompt, which is going to be inserted in one part of the format that the model is, trained to answer. So if you understand this, maybe it will get you understand. You can know better. Any other questions until now? All right, we'll come to the final stage and then I'll take more questions. I hope this has been clear. Some suggestions. Just wanted to again give you some what happened, why this AI is going to be buzzword going forward. 1990s has been the age of information asymmetry. In fact, the information asymmetry age has been there for almost 500, 600 years. If you're a 90s, if you're born in 80s like me, getting the information was the main problem, right? Information sources were limited, lack of organized, easily accessible knowledge. Early web experiences were rudimentary with very rare websites. For example, that time I have to read Reader's Digest, I have to read encyclopedia. I will be very fascinated looking at encyclopedia because you can gather information, because there was an information asymmetry. Whoever has the information, has a better position. But then 2000, the search revolution happened, where emergence of search engines came. This reduced the information asymmetry. You had access to more organized digital content. You had websites, you have forums, and Google and other engines came with indexing vast amount of content, and digital footprint started to expand globally in 2000. And the AI integration in digital innovation is after this in 2010 and beyond. A big data revolution has happened. Digital content has exploded. AI has begun to play a critical role in indexing, recommending, and analyzing content. This is very important for you to understand. If you go to Facebook, if you go to Twitter, no more the human being and their algorithm is going to handle, the AI algorithm is going to handle based on your experience, right? And personalized experiences everywhere. This AI integration has started to happen, right? Basic chatbots and all that. And now we are at the helm of digital innovation, where advanced AI models became integral to digital platform. We are already seeing that happening. Real-time data processing, natural language understanding, and predictive analysis are there. I'm sure you all would have seen the WhatsApp AI. On Facebook AI, you can create an image, you can access, you can chat with your AI. And AI is just not an add-on, but the backbone of most modern software innovation these days. And examples, there are umpteen examples: AI-driven customer support, autonomous system, intelligent personal assistant. So this is where we are currently, from 1990s to here. So what are the tips to use AI in this? One is make it a practice to use AI LLM tools for as many tasks as you want. Prompt to write, clear writer's block. This has been my issue when I was doing my PhD. I wish I had a LLM then. I will have all the ideas, I will have all the data in with me, but I will not know how to begin, right? If you have any of such problems, all you have to do is just ask, chat with your LLM chatbot. It will clear your writer's block, and as you start using it, you will see that it will become integrated part of you. You can discuss ideas. Now you know that LLM means it is having some repository of ideas within itself. All you need to do is prompt in a right way to get it. And most importantly, prompt to learn on subjects. LLMs are a subject matter expert in a lot of areas, even though with bias. So learn a lot of these concepts using LLM, and prompt, right? You keep chatting with AI and you'll understand its benefit. Some of the examples, you can, every interaction like this can be recorded, transcribed, and converted to notes. That's what we are doing. I mean, you need not have third-party tool and everything. You can even install softwares within yourself. Make it as a, I now make it as a practice. If I interact any official, I just record, put it into my laptop, transcribe, convert it notes, and send it to the email ID, right? You can record in your personal knowledge base so that it does not go out of thing. All this needs a little bit to learn to code, and this is something that I would recommend. Please learn to code to some basic level, because coding is going to be one important feature for you to keep the edge of using the AI, and use as diverse tools as possible. Many tools are given for free. Maybe one or two you can take it for money, but use as diverse tool as possible. And from this session, my one request and recommendation is use AI from first principle approach. Why I took about AI, about deep learning, about LLM is because when you are going to write a prompt, you have to go to the level of this universal approximator, how they have trained, try to search about what they have used for training. So you should know the behind the scenes working, and then you try to use AI. It will make your usage better, right? And some example usage of AI is YouTube learning assistants. I extensively use, many of our colleagues here extensively use. There are a lot of courses now available in YouTube. You can listen to that. At the same time, you can create a transcript of the YouTube and then ask some questions like how you are asking me, right? It can be even live questions which can be answered better. You can summarize and query PDFs, especially scientific PDF, based on that. Your messaging personal assistant, I again recommend you to learn a bit of coding. You need not learn a lot of coding. You can have a LLM in your laptop. The open source community is awesome that way, that in your laptop, hopefully through our Rural AI Center also, we will go into the mechanics of this We'll have very again some deep courses on how to code, how to from basics maybe how to have your own LLM, uh, now SLM, all that we'll have. But please also learn from other resources. Again, like I said, please use it for journaling and ideation. If you think about something, record it and send it to your chatbot and see what it gives you. If you keep doing this as a practice, you will see that it will become an integrated part of you. For example, I just want to give this poster that I developed for AI, which I think some also found it strange. Why there is a tree and there is AI for all. This is actually came from my prompting to ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT to do some prompting, and I saw that was an inspiration for me. I liked it because I wanted grounding of rural at the same time some nice background one. You can see that I almost entirely replicated this. I'm not a designer. I'm not a great designer. Maybe it's a very bad design. But the point is, I used LLM to prompt, to ignite my creative ideas. For example, I like this poster, which I'm planning to use it for further some of the programs. Like that, if you are stuck somewhere, you have a personal assistant with you to do it. Here you can see a lot of tools that I've given. I'll also share these slides with you. You need not understand all of this. Maybe here, OpenAI, Anthropic, DeepMind is what you should know. And maybe speech, for example, Whisper, Podcast, NoteLM. These are some softwares that you need to know. But most importantly, like I said, take one or two AI and use it, especially for your daily interaction. And I wanted to give one final warning along with that. Use AI, but remember how it is made, right? This is one recent paper, large language model reflect the ideology of their creators. So we never know what is their ideology is going to be. So that's why we are looking at first principles. We are not blindly using AI. We understand its, the gears and mechanics of it. So when you are using it, use them judiciously. Know that it will show bias, but that's okay. For education, the viveka will come from us. In fact, the training for us is how to build that viveka, and demand and participate in creating LLMs for our Indian context. Like I said, if you are a technology person, if you are a linguistic, if you are a Sanskrit or Tamil or Indian language, if you want your language to be part of this AI era, please participate in some way. So I just wanted to end with this, which has been part of that. This has been very famous. Most of our devatas are multi-handed. So think of that. AI as a modern equivalent. There are a lot of tools that is available. There's going to be a lot of more tools. There can be a lot of hands, but there is only one head. So use them judiciously and understand. At the end of the day, the viveka come from us. I wanted to again bring one important thing: one person and many assistants. This is a vision that has been developed in the AI and Silicon Valley, and I hope our government also is taking this very seriously. $1 billion company, which is a possible future of business. You have only one person, and that is going to be $1 billion valued company, a unicorn, and this is going to be the future. Such many companies are going to come. Maybe one from you. Even rural AI center more or less is run on few people, not one. But for all the gaps that we have many assistants. We use AI left, right, and center. So please have this also in your mind. So I just wanted to recap. What did you learn is you understood what is an AI, ML, DL, why DL, right? And the universal approximator keyword. What is a large language model? You understand that it just mugs up and predict the next word given a sequence of words, but you can smartly make it predict in a way that you want it. And then we saw some prompting and prompting techniques, what is prompting, and how it is used with respect to LLM, and some suggestions which I wanted to also interact and learn from you. With that, I conclude. Please follow us for more courses we are planning to launch, and follow us with Anadi Foundation to go beyond AI, because AI is just one part of Anadi Foundation. contact us too if you want to join and participate in some of these tasks. Okay, I'll just answer a few questions that is there, and then I'll take more questions. Are we developing AI model based on Bharatiya context, a model having Bharatiya Drishti? We have started, like I said, a few groups are starting. There is IIT Madras, there is IIT Bombay. In fact, my professors from IIIT Hyderabad, IIT Bombay are actually hands and gloves involved in that. So, uh, I mean, there are challenges, but we are going to have AI that will have a Bharatiya Drishti. Yes. And my request is, if you are interested, please contact us and see how you can participate in whatever way you want. Yes. So the answer is yes. So another question is, we train LLM on text as input data. How is it done for images? Does it have? Yes. So point number one, how is it done for images is they use similar concept. I just go to one part. Yeah, you can see for images, it's almost the same process. You take the image, convert that. See, even with text, it's not the text that is being trained. It is the text are also converted into a machine readable format, which is like a numbers, and only that is being trained. So even for images, what they do is they are converting into a format that the computer can understand, and then they train like how they do. If I wanted to put roughly, this is not the rigorous way, but how they do is they'll cut the images into boxes and they find the value. So then they predict the next box. So if I have this box and this box and this box, it will try to predict the next box very roughly. So the image are being trained like that. But this remains the same. How the image and video audio are trained, it's the same. You have the input could be an audio and output could be a text. So you try to approximate a function to convert audio to text, or the input could be a text and the output could be an audio. Very simplified version of that. And do they take the second question? Do they take the I think in the first question, do they take the advantage of already trained text model? Yes, that innovation they do. They take the already available text model and then they try to also use it in some way for audio and video training. Who are different people? Like I said, I know of IIT Madras and IIT Bombay. IIT Bombay, I'm closely working with, and I recommend. And there are also private players who are working in that. Can you share best Indian language based AI LLM products platform that we can use in our sorry. Yeah, I hope I answered Rohini's answer. New LLM, IIT Madras and IIT Bombay, and many other again governments are doing that. Yeah, for Vivek, can you please share best Indian language based AI LLM products platform? Okay, so this I would suggest there is 2.ai. This is by Pranav Mistry, the Sixth Sense fame. He has a very good model, but I think it's open only on request. Currently, Llama 3 model to some extent is trained on Indian context, but it's not completely. We don't have a pure Indian model yet. Hopefully, IIT Bombay will release one soon. When it does, maybe I'll share their link. Maybe that can be used. Commercial product we don't have yet, but we should be there soon. Yeah, I use Bhashini.ai, supposed to be trained in Indian languages. Let me check. So Vivek, again to answer the Bhashini.ai translation, that could be because it need not have been trained with enough data. The one disadvantage of deep learning is you need a lot of data. So you need to collect such translations and then train on that to make it happen better. Even Google translation is not as good actually. So if something is working to only to some extent, you can always be sure that the data, we are lacking with data. That is where we are trying to catch up, and it's not very easy. There is, for example, Karya.ai who are trying to create a lot of data. And this is where, if you are an entrepreneur, this is where the requirement is. Data is going to be the next gold mine. Yeah, Llama 3 is Meta AI in WhatsApp. Yes, it's the same, but there is an open source model that you can use it in your system. And there is also a model that they fine-tuned, the Meta themselves fine-tuned, which is there in WhatsApp. Yes. Any other questions? I hope this has been a useful session. Please follow us if you are a technology and wanted to dive deep. We'll take more serious, sessions in these areas. Any other questions from the participants? Yeah, how can we stop dharmic bias in AI model is to create our own homegrown models. That's the only way. We should ensure that we create our own evaluation parameters. We should create our own businesses. That way, maybe the dharmic bias will be out, and it's almost there. The government is doing its best. The private people are doing that. We are there. Very soon, we should be there. All right, 5 minutes extra. I promised for those who stay. I just wanted to show one final thing, a demo of how the training does. I'll also share this PPT, these resources that you can try. This is a very interesting, very nice animation that was done. I just wanted to show you all. So just to visually see how it is done, you can see this is a sentence. Let's say if you wanted to train that. So you wanted to train a sentence called "we go to work by train," right? How do you do? First, you divide them into tokens. There are different ways to divide them, but we call it, let's say we want to divide them into words or subwords. This is where for Indian context, it's become very complicated and difficult because how do you do it? It's not as you do it for the Latin and other languages. Then, for example, you divide them into words and then take one word, for example, work, right? The model will try to learn the meaning of work in different context that comes from other data, other resources. So, and then this relationship is stored. You can see this is important. When you say work, the AI model does not understand the word work, but this mathematical expression of vector. It's just a vector space that will understand with some numbers in this. This number will keep changing in such a way that it will come to a particular sweet spot of the number, such a way that with the model and this number, you can use this based on the larger context. Work can be related, work in, work I, work my, work effort, right? And then again, you can see that each word will have an associated vector. Very interestingly, similar meaning vectors will have almost same score, same vectors they'll be in the same vector space, whereas different sounding will be in different vector space. This can be also visually seen here. Walk, run, swim will be clustered together. Automatically, these clusters happen for languages. Very interesting will be to see how this is going to happen for Indian languages, especially Tamil and Sanskrit, where the etymology of a word is very, very straightforward. So this will be much more efficient, hopefully, for Indian languages. And then once you have that learning, what happens is there is something called as self-attention. For each training, each word, you try to score based on its relative words, right? And then you try to predict. I mean, this I'll share. Basically, a word is chosen based on this larger context. So interest can be here, and there can be other words also. Instead of interest, it can be encouragement, enthusiasm, because it's a prediction, right? Here, instead of interest, it will be profits, dividends. So the what word should come there will be based on the larger context that it has, and that is what it will learn. All right. I hope this is just a introduction, been useful. Um, thank you for the patience listening. I'll stop the recording. Any other questions? Yeah, you can contact us in email. Please join. Look at your email. I've sent you email or to join to the WhatsApp also. We'll be in touch. Any questions are welcome there also. Yeah. And final, is there any work happening in this direction? Yeah, one organization is Rural AI Center and Anadi Foundation. Please be in touch with us, and through us, we'll also, based on your interest, I can refer you to many other organizations to that. And Vara Prasad, does the prompts or any data that we share to the LLM store it? Of course, they will shore it. They don't give it as a public, but there are other forums where you can search for prompt and answers. There are other open source community that are collecting such data voluntarily. You can also take a look at that. But ChatGPT, of course, stores it. They also use it for training it, and that's how the model is becoming improving. How can we? Yeah, yes, G.
Namaste, my name is Harini. So
Yes,
and I'm just sharing an experience what happened with AI, how I related. So I'm a math teacher. I wanted a circular rangoli and a girl standing near it and a photo of it for explaining the area of circle. So what I did when I asked ChatGPT for downloading some images, so every time it gave me the girl standing on the rangoli. So it was very funny for me. The other thing was because I wanted a 11-year-old girl standing around the rangoli, I tried for almost 4 hours by giving different prompts to different AI tools. And I found that the 11-year-old girl, when I said it should be in an Indian traditional dress, the girl always came out with a Mangal Sutra, 11-year-old girl, a Mangal Sutra and the red sindoor. And she was always standing on the rangoli. Anytime I kept saying outside the boundary, outside the outline. So, I mean, how does the AI learn these things, which are something which, every Indian knows, but AI doesn't know?
Yeah, like I said, that's based on the data that we are given. So maybe not enough data has been given to understand the cultural context of what is Rangoli and what is a 11-year-old kid, right? For example, Bindi. This bias is going to come because currently we are using models that has been trained by non-Indians, let's say, even culturally. So what AI does is just understand what the data it has been given and predict based on that, right? Very, very roughly. So if it is not able to understand it, that means not enough context has been given. So usually the examples would be given from Shutterstock or Instagram, for example. The number of data that non-Indian data is there. For example, China, TikTok, and other WeChat, they take all the data and train the models based on that. And for them, that's why even if you put in many of the image generator, most of the even Indian icons will have a Chinese feature. That's because simply you have to understand this. Whatever trained data it has been trained on, only that it will generate. My suggestion, at least until we have a better model for us, right? Until we have that, my suggestion is to use something like this, which I just showed you. You just give a prompt, get an idea of how it should be, and then create your own design. That's the current make shift model is better to use rather than relying completely on the AI models. They are not perfect for Indian context yet.
But how do we teach this?
So as participants, like I said, we can demand and request and ask. Our government is doing that. You need large amount of data to train. So in the current context, it's not yet possible to do that because it's even for text, right? I'm talking about here just a language model. I'm not even going into the visual model. You can see that for a simple chat GPT-3, you are talking 6,000 GPUs, right? It's a very costly affair and 10 terabyte of data. So if you want to teach a model to generate like an Indian with Bindi plus near Rangoli, means you need to take a lot of pictures, images, drawings, and then train the model, which is what is currently happening. They are called as visual language models. Instead of large language model, they are called as visual language models. But current models do not do that, don't have the capability.
Because these are just two examples I've given. There'll be like thousands and thousands of examples like this, which
Yes.
is specific to Indian context. Like
Yes. See, we Indians still there are no startups per se to work on that, right? Only we are relying on, for example, XAI. We have Twitter and Facebook. All the data is stored there, so only they can train. They only have the infrastructure, which is okay to a certain extent. But let's say if, as a team, if you wanted to have some AI that generates a better iconography of our context, we can start forming teams, look at data, where the data will be present, and collect that, or join the large force. Like I said, that's why I mentioned IIT Bombay and IIT Madras, and we, for example, rural AI center is also trying to be part of that. But application-wise, we are not there yet. That's why even for this, I only look at the inspiration from the model and build my own. Yeah.
Yes.
I hope I answered question.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, Shubham, how to contribute to Nanadi Foundation? Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Tell your interest. Come, you are always welcome to come to our foundation and ashram. Please participate, and then you will know. Wherever we join hands, we can go together, travel together. You are always welcome to our place. Okay. Hema, if we search Last of Us in Chrome, there will be a mushroom popping up. If we search, people know about these things, but they still create things like this. Are they useful? I don't understand what is this. Last of Us in Google Chrome. I have not seen this. Hema, I'll just look at this and maybe answer to you later. If you can explain, if you are there, and if you can explain exactly, I can answer that. So Shubham, Harini, Shubham has generated on Llama 3. Maybe you can exchange prompts. That's the best way to do it.
Sure.
And see, prompts also detailed, I would say skilled than detailed. You look at the other prompts, see how it is trained. That's why you have to go for the first principle approach. Maybe quickly go through what they have done. Use ChatGPT itself to learn about it, right? You understand how they have trained, what data they said they've used, what training prompts they have used. You first understand that, then you'll have a better way of doing this. Okay, all right. Thanks, everybody. So I hope this has been useful for you.